Hi Jordanos, and I brought the help today, Jake from OSS. Welcome Jake to the animal farm.
Yeah.
It really is animal farm. We got cows in the background, but we're not going to talk about the cows today. We want to talk about the suppressors. And Jake, my first contact, the way how I was exposed to the OSS cans came from the CSAS program, compact semi-automatic sniper system for the US Army and the DMR program. By the way, how's that going out? Because I still don't see those on the unit level.
It takes a little while to get out.
Right. The DMR is coming in. I seen the DMR
the SDMR's starting to come in through. I think CSAS you'll start to see.
Squad Designated Marksman Rifle, okay, official terminology. So don't get caught on it. But that was my exposure to the OSS can, and I thought, holy cow, there is no back pressure. And when you're shooting a semi-automatic rifles, especially AK rifles, you're getting a lot of back pressure because of the physics. It's not like this is the bad design or something, but the physics and the gases are being pushed. So I immediately thought this can would do great on AK, and I started using the OSS cans, and they really do great. But could you explain in the simple words, we are simple people here, why that can is pushing the gases forward so much and not backward?
So we'll try and keep it pretty simple. So traditional suppressors, and we'll cut to an animation of what ours looks like at the right time, or at least a picture of it. So but traditional suppressors, they're a little more advanced than this, but it's like washers in a row with a tube around it. So when you fire the rifle, as the projectile passes through, it will trap the gases behind it in each individual chamber. So it gives it a place to expand and cool down. So, but the way they work, it will trap and stop the gas. So imagine each individual chamber there. As it stops that gas, it builds a backup of pressure in the system. So that goes back down the bore line into the action in your face, speeds up bolt velocities. It causes more pressure in the gas port a little bit. A lot of it's actually coming back down the bore, and you're seeing those increase in velocities. So the way ours works is as you fire the rifle, the main section here will catch the highest pressures of the gas, and when you look at the animation or the picture, the high pressure gas will go to the outermost sections of the suppressor, and it'll pass through these layers of coils, and as it goes through those coils, that gradually slows down the gases, and so it'll pass through one layer, drops to the next layer of gas, coils, drops to the next layer, and goes forward. You've got another series of sections through here that catch the next series of pressures of gases. But as we slow the gas down, it exits around these ports, around here out the front instead of back down in the gun. So the rifle doesn't know it's wearing a suppressor. It's going to run the same with the can on as it does off. And
this is so true. You have seen me, guys, using those suppressors on regular AKs, on the PSL 54, on the SKS. I think any semi-automatic rifle with that can acts almost like there is no can whatsoever. That's the beauty of the OSS, and it definitely cuts the sound levels down. The living proof is here. Guys, the reason I started using suppressors like religiously in our videos is because my hearing went downhill like crazy. When I was every year with the Army, we got the physical test, and my hearing went completely down, and I was flagged and panicked and everything. And now after using the suppressors in the videos, my hearing bounces back according to the new test, and I'm recovering. So it helps. When on duty, we're running, on our sniper rifle suppressors all the time. So that goes without saying. But going back to the AKs, as I said, VZ58 too, SKS, PSL 54, or the regular AKs, any AK works great with that can. And this is jaw dropping too, because AK by default has a lot of gas coming back your way, but you're not beating up the action. You guys seen it, so many tests, 5,000 rounds tests on the different AKs, and we're not doing, we're not creating more damage.
Yeah,
to those
the long
components.
stroke piston systems seem to react very well with this design. It induces a lot less heat into the system.
We know we can put this on the traditional AKs, 14-1 left-handed thread, the muzzle device you guys are providing, and then any 7.62 helix quick detach can taps to that muzzle brake. The issue was always what you're doing about the 26 millimeter, like here, and that's different thread on the muzzle, or 24 millimeter. This is like this is the brand new AK-74 from Palmetto State Armory, but it has the classic 24 millimeter front. So when those devices will show up on the market and when those will be available, so the guys with different front ends and AK rifle can start enjoying those cans.
We'll see M24 first. Vendors that are making them for us anticipate probably the second to last or last week of October. We should have them in, packaged, and on the website.
Awesome.
Ready to sell.
So the 24 guys, 24 will work for a 74 style rifles. Most of them has a 24 millimeter front end, but also the AK-103s or the 100 series, they have basically a 24 millimeter front end. So that muzzle device will accept the 7.62 cans.
And so
now I know, and you got it on your left side, the 556 can, and 556 can will jelly very well with 545 by 39 rifle. Any chance that that can will be compatible with that muzzle
we
device?
will have a version. So something that's built into our design in this is the 556 suppressors will not physically fit on a 30 cal mount, but a 30 cal suppressor will go on a 556 mount. So anything larger will go down a size, but the smaller suppressors won't go up.
And this was done because of the Marines. It's a Marine-proof design. So, all my Marine friends, hi guys.
To make it safe. That way, if there's a lot of people that have multiple suppressors and different hosts, and we wanted to make sure that somebody didn't accidentally put.
And I get that.
But with Palmetto having the M24 threads on a 30 cal rifle, we will have a version that's 30 cal M24. So
awesome.
I'm not, as the time of this video, I wasn't able to verify if they were able to make the change to have a 30 cal bore line. We talked about having them change it and put a safety sticker over that says this has a 30 cal bore line, but it will accept a 556 suppressor. I'm thinking right now, we'll probably put a footnote in this if we can, but worst case, if we didn't catch it and be able to make a change, there'll just be a 556/545 version and a 30 cal version. And then the M26 will be first week of November. It'll follow right behind, and that'll be 30 cal.
The reason why I'm bugging Jake, guys, about the 556 cans, if you could pass me the 556 can. So this is the 7.62, the silver one, and this is the 556. So you can see there is a size difference, and also the 556 can is a little bit lighter. So for like 74 style rifles, I think this is the like dream can to have on that 74. You don't have to go to the 7.62 can. I mean, this rifle will handle this very well, and that's I'm hoping that this is going to happen, that you're going to have that ability. I understand the risk. It's like Jake was trying to say, that people can mix the cans and by accident put the 556 can then on the 24 front end on a like AK-103, which is 7.62 by 39, and blew the can off. Expensive mistake. expensive mistake, but put the stickers and you know, I think it's worth it because this is such a great can. I'm using that can too on the 556 rifles, and that built-in flash hider, it's absolutely tits.
Yep.
Whoever did that design is such a simple thing, guys, but absolutely eliminates the flash, and that was brilliant.
Works really
So
well. Even
works,
on 545 powder too. As
Oh,
well. It works really well.
I'm waiting. I cannot literally wait when I can put that 556 can on that 74. Like it will be.
For that.
It will be a blast. So bottom line is that M26 and M24 style mounts are coming in.
Right.
Now I got another question because it was a lot of confusion when you guys kind of said you eliminating a muzzle brakes and just rolling out with flash hiders. How is it going to trickle down to the 14-1? Are you going to keep the, because on the 14-1 it's basically a muzzle brake design. Let me take this can off. That's how it is looking like. And on that note, I wanna right away, let's knock this out, guys. You don't have to time the muzzle brake to be to those vents pointing down. You don't have to. The can will function perfectly fine. When I do this, I got two major concerns. Which, first, you wanna torque it this hard so it's not becoming loose, and probably use the rock set, few drops of the rock set on the left-hand threads. That helps. But that's that. So I want to make sure these brakes are staying on. So I really don't care about timing. Like, hey, my slots, they have to be perfectly down and things like this. The second thing which I'm always worrying about is alignment. Always check the alignment. Use the alignment rods and verify.
Yeah, we can talk about that at M24 and M26 a little bit too.
We'll go back to that. But make sure you are aligned. But the timing on the brake is not crucial.
It's not necessary
will
for
work.
Aesthetics, or if you're shooting prone in dry dirt, you may want to help kind of keep some of the blast to the side.
Sure.
But it's not necessary for function.
So
it's more for aesthetics, and
it's not changing the functioning of the can.
No.
Can doesn't care.
No, suppressor doesn't care.
But as you can see, this is a muzzle brake. Are you going to switch completely to the flash hiders on the 14-1 left hand at some point, or how is that going to?
I would like some feedback, I think, from people using it. Personally, I like the flash hider myself. I would like to go all flash hider myself. I mean, for us, it's easier to keep machines tooled up for flash hider for M24, M26, 14-1, if they're all the same. I mean, we'd love feedback from the end user if that's what you want. Post
in the comments, guys. Do you want muzzle brake or do you want a flash hider as adapter for the can? For me, it's a flash hider. I would rather roll with the flash hider because the recoil is not that bad with the flash hiders on AEK. Okay, and then you can always slap the can on and roll out.
Well, so, and this came from the flash hider that's on 30 cal. Came from a design that was geared around a 13.5-inch 308 with 147 ball for M80 ball. So it works really well on 7.60-39. I mean, you've seen how it does. Yeah, I mean, they're going to have flash.
Well, because the 10-inch barrel on the AK, no matter what you're going to slap here, it's going to produce
but it pulls a lot out of it.
Absolutely. But on a regular AK, the 16-inch barrel, I'm perfectly fine with the flash hider. Like, really.
I'm a flash hider guy that way. That's what I prefer. It's something 16-inch and shorter. That's the way I go. So I'd prefer it. So I'd like to see it. But
let us hear, guys, like what you think. I mean, we're both leaning towards the flash hiders. So we know that was my only concern about the 14-1. I know that on other calibers you walk out from the muzzle device and you switch to this is basically the 556
less to
flash
mess
hider.
With. It just it's on and go. So if those that are worried about the aesthetics part of it, it just goes on. You don't worry as much about a flat being on top.
Okay.
Too. I mean, there's that argument. So.
that solves that. So but if you're using a muzzle brake, don't worry about timing. You be more concerned about really torquing this muzzle device to the barrel so it stays on the barrel.
Right.
And then you don't have to worry about because the way how you unlocking the can, you going this way. That's basically just like you unlocking the left hand
Is the suppressor's left-hand thread, so with the 14-1, it's going to sit, the back of the suppressor will sit flush with the mount. So this is one style that if you don't get your mount all the way tight, I mean, there are holes in the back, but if you get the suppressor, if you don't get the mount tight enough, and so you have to take the suppressor off, the mount comes with it, we'll have to get it off for you. You know, it's a little harder to get out. We won't, sorry.
All right, quick tip for that. If that will happen to you, if you didn't put, I still use the rock set. On
a little bit of
4 drops, 4 or 5 drops, depends, and I never had a problem. But I helped few guys, so they untwisted the suppressor with the can. Can with the muzzle device. They untwisted the can with the muzzle device. In that case, put on the threads of the barrel a little bit of the blue Loctite, let it sit for like an hour or so, and then quickly apply the socket wrench on the, not the socket wrench, I'm getting stupid, just the adjustable wrench on the back, and don't raise the torque slowly, do the quick motion, like you're breaking it and you will break that seal.
Most of the time blue does. We've had one guy had to go to red, but
either way.
You can call us, and this is just a common, it's not very common.
Not very common.
No, if some reason you didn't get it tight, that helps you get it off. If blue didn't work, try red the next time, and then try rock set, and it'll come off. But, just rock set's harder to get back off to retorque.
Yep, but other than that, that's the only feedback I had from the guys who were using that. You know, one guy had a problem that he trapped the brake with unscrewed the brake with the can. Other than this, it's working extremely well on AKs, and with the right-handed threads, that's not an issue because you're torquing the opposite ways.
Yeah.
So, and it's working great. Like honestly, I cannot wait for the 74s when that M24 will be released to put the 556 suppressor, and that's perfectly fine. And it will be great moment for all of us. So that hopefully will happen soon. Also, do you want to add anything about the M24s and M26?
Yeah, so M24 and M26, there are some rifles that have had issues with thread concentricity. So we've worked with PTG for a crown facing tool. So we have one. PTG
is Pacific Tool Engage. Yep, known company.
They'll do a pilot that will go down the bore. It's in 556, 545, 762 in 308 and 311. So there's a 90-degree facing tool. So when you look at the gas block, the front sight on these, or gas block on the cranks, it's actually gonna crown an index on most guns. Sometimes you'll have to pull your pin off the front sight so it doesn't interfere there, but your muzzle device will index and touch and torque off the front here. So they've made us a straight flat 90-degree crowning tool. So there's a pilot that goes down the bore to keep it straight. So if yours is really out of alignment, it's a simple fix that you can crown it with their 90-degree facing tool to get a nice flat surface, and then put the mount on, and that should help with those barrels that are very out of round.
Okay.
At least that's the idea. We've been able to pull a couple out that were really out. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see how some of those imports.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens, but.
As much as I love Vapors, I still remember some of the barrels on the Vapors were like egg shape, you know.
And that's the game you play.
That happens.
A lot of the Bulgarian ones are pretty good. You might get a bad one here and there, but a lot of the Bulgarian ones have been great. They've got a lot of M26 cranks, and but we'll just have to see how they go. But that is something, you know, we try to keep the idea of the mounting system simple, no mechanical locking systems, and the same thing with this. So you know, just some of you may have by the time you crown it, you may have an interference with your cleaning rod and the pin on the front of your front sight post or your gas block. So we can keep that in mind, but it's all in the game to try and have a nice run out with the bore. I mean, it's something to sacrifice.
And that tool from PTG, that will be available through your website?
We'll work on that. That might be a little later, or through PTG.
Or PTG.
Either one, but they
but in the basic muzzle device description, there will be a link so they can get.
We're trying to get that ready. Yeah, I mean that might be a little bit behind. I mean the ones we've tried, the vast majority have been straight enough. They've been great.
And same here. I ran those muzzle devices on numerous my AKs, and I had zero issues.
The vast majority have been great. Some of them, even we've been able to go to the Magnum tie and had enough room to clear and been fine. And that's what we call the communist 30 cal in the 338. So, and it works out.
Always
to have enough room, but you want to check the muzzle device first, as it's going to have a tighter bore than the Magnum tie with its and the Magnum tie is going to be closer to 0.39 on the bore line to give it more room, because it goes up to 338 Lapua.
What he's basically saying, it gives you more forgiveness in
run out of the bore.
So always check, buy those alignment rods. The alignment rods are the easiest way to check.
Yeah, we usually use the Geisley alignment rods. There's some carbon fiber ones coming out on the market that are pretty good too.
Absolutely. Run the alignment rod, and immediately you know if you have to do the corrections.
Well, and those can be out a little bit. So I mean, just note sometimes they can be out as much as, I've heard, up to 20 thousandths. So if you got it laying on the table on the side, maybe flip it over a little bit and kind of check both sides and look at it and get a good idea what it does move. But you can usually tell something's out pretty far.
And there is a built-in forgiveness to like 30 cals too. There's more room.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's not 7.62 on the board for the can.
Yeah.
I mean, there is forgiveness for that.
Yeah.
So there is room to have some wiggle room. Put it that way. But hey, pretty much very exciting news. I cannot wait. You guys are killing it, and hopefully you will continue to support the AK world and be part of the family, because it's really, for the semi-automatic rifles, this can works very well.
Yeah, it really
you don't have to work on any gas system magics or anything. And I beat up those cans so badly. Yeah. The only thing which I haven't done with it, I never dropped the rifle to the swamp with the can, because of I'm worried that the mud can get a little bit more into those holes, and that would be a bad idea.
I mean, the water drains out really fast. I mean, you can see there's a lot to drain through. I mean,
well, the interesting part, tell them about how you're cleaning it. So dip it in a CLP or the solvent for 24 hours. Screw in on the gun,
we pull it out, put it on the gun. We wipe it off a little bit, put it on the gun, and shoot it, and everything blows out the front.
And then there's a spectacular foam flying out through the can. But that helps really, the removing the carbon.
And that's a big thing. You can see a big weight reduction, and that's one of the biggest parts. I mean, over time you can get a little bit build up to where you might notice a little bit of blowback, but that takes a pretty high round count. I mean, you're way up there. But but if you do that every 3,500 plus rounds, but on a 16-inch 308, like looking at the CSAS rifle, I mean, you can get over 5,000 rounds. You can see 4 or 5 ounces plus of buildup in weight. So a lot of that's just to get rid of that buildup in weight, whether it's ours or anyone else's. I mean, no one wants to get the weight buildup, weight gain. So the
bottom line is, all you do is you fill out. I use the like a container from tennis balls.
Yep, so tennis balls to my dog.
Cut out the top, put the whatever cleaning solvent you're using, dip the can in it, close it, wait 24 hours, pull out, screw it, wipe it out, screw out, and shoot out the junk, and you will literally see the junk flying out. It's very simple service solution for that. So you don't have to, the OSS cans, you're not taking them apart. It is what it is. So
and then the older design that used to come apart, we tried the soaking method with those versus taking apart and cleaning, and it was really, virtually the same. It was very near, and the parts you could not take apart in those was the same parts that cleaned out in these. I mean, if that makes sense.
Question always pops about these. Can you put them to the ultrasonic cleaner?
As long as your solution is Cerakote safe, and these are a C-type, the high temp Cerakote.
Okay.
So as long as your solution is Cerakote safe, yes.
I almost forgot. Are these going to be available like for the military in the colors of like flat dark earth?
They are,
or
yes.
You know, kind of. I think you call that sand.
Yeah,
sand
it's
color.
The CSAS colors. I mean, this is one that you've painted. We've got one coming to you, so you can finish your review on the CSAS rifle. But so you'll have one to show. But it's a little more of a sand color that matches a little closer to what's on the front sight. Maybe. I mean, there's a couple different.
But you're offering this to the general public.
Well, it's called the EL QD762.
All right.
So the engravings are more so you can match a clone rifle.
Okay.
And it's the proper color, and it's a high temp. And you know, even in the high temp Cerakotes, you get them super hot. When you get into the tans, they can change colors. When you get them really hot, the black doesn't. You know, and this one's a 762 titanium in raw, so this will be available. I mean, Silencer Shop will have it the rest of 2020 on their website. So
this is going to be sold like this, right? The basic silver bullet.
Yeah. So that's something a lot of people asked for. The 7.6. I mean, the 7.62 titanium. We sell as many of those as we do the stainless. So it's there for weight savings.
I prefer titanium.
Save a lot of weight.
We had a lot of talk about durability in between the stainless steel and the titanium, and I'll tell you the titanium holds up on AK rifles extremely well.
It all has to do with temperature.
And well, I ran those cans because we do the magazine dumps. Guess what, right? You know, to speed up the rounds count when we testing, rifles. But I hit them up to 900 degrees, and they pulled up. They work.
And ours are a little different. You know, there's an all titanium suppressor is going to have a reduced service life, especially on the shorter guns. And the way we get around that and have a longer service life is the muzzle devices. One is the main wear item, and they're stainless steel, and then they're QPQ coated, so it's going to be a harder material and more wear resistant. And then the core section, when you look in this section right through here, that 1/2 inch diameter, so from where the muzzle device, well, that's a 30 cal, so where the muzzle device will sit, it'll butt up against here. That about a 1/2 inch diameter all the way to the end is, even in the titanium, is lined with stainless. So instead of some of these tie cans, depends on what it is, 2,000 to 8,000 rounds on a short gun, or they limit you to a 14.5 inch barrel. I mean, some of them were done in 2,000 to 2,500 rounds. I mean, a lot of those have since been discontinued by manufacturers, but like on an 11.5 inch 5.56 or 10.3 inch, we were still seeing 40,000 round plus service life.
40 rounds plus. So and the 5.56 got a higher pressure than the 7.62 by 39. So even if you will run it on the 7.62 by 39 with 10-inch barrel, you will get a lot of run on that. And I ran titanium cans on it with no issues.
Well, and it reduces sparking too.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's other ways, coatings, to reduce that. I mean, you still might get a couple here and there, but you have to be in the dark to really see it.
I would say that much. Like, if you guys can afford the titanium can, I'll go with the titanium can. I mean, the benefits.
5 ounces in the
benefits
stainless
are outliving, you know, any negatives.
But in the heat ranges, even if you keep them at 800 degrees, it's still pretty hot.
It is.
That and below, it's gonna last a lot longer.
Like, we do the magazine dumps because that's the fastest way to speed up the process. You know, the pushing the rounds through the bore, but for the regular user, you're not going to
I mean, it'll handle some full auto use. I mean, it's rated for it. It'll do it. It's just
that's a discussion for the next video.
Yeah, the next one. I mean, it's what are you realistically using your gun for and what you're doing with it. The temperature ranges you're going to use it in, they're going to last really long service life. So.
All right. Hey, Jake, thank you very much for explanation in the simple terms what those cans are doing. Thank you for supporting the AK line, and I hope to see more because there's more to go for. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching, guys. Never gets old.
No.